Stamping friends, it's Jackie Ballheis from Stampers. Today, it's all about coloring with Stampin Blends. We're gonna make some quick and easy cards using the new Country Flower stamp set. This was one of those that when I looked at it first, I'm like, I'm not so sure about it, but I have 100% fallen in love with it. And I actually have 10 different cards to share with you. But we're gonna start by making one so I can share lots of tips for coloring with Stampin Blends to make some quick and easy cards. So are we ready? Let's flip the camera down and let's get stamping. So here's what the Country Flowers stamp set looks like. We've got lots of great containers to put flowers and leaves and stuff in it. Like I said, it just wasn't on my radar at first, but I have made some beautiful cards I can't wait to share with you. Now we're gonna do things just a smidgen different than normal with our Stampin' Blends. And we're actually going to stamp our image on a piece of Designer Series paper. And I should show you this paper because this could be my new favorite Designer Series paper. It is called Country Woods, and it is all different wood grain patterns. I think it actually goes with the suite that the stamp set's in, but I think it's going to become just a standard all-around paper to use with everything. So I have the one that's a little bit more, I guess, just white, but you can see the rough texture of that wood on there. And we're going to actually stamp our images right on the Designer Series paper. Now, I don't do that very often. Normally, I would stamp this probably on a piece of basic white, but we're going to go ahead, and I know, because I kind of sized this up, I need to come down about right there to get my images to fit, because I wanted this to be a square. So there is our, I don't know, what do you call it, a can? First, I thought it was a milk jug, but with that little handle, it's not. Let's see, will this still fit? We'll call this our flower market container. Then we're going to take one of the floral images. Now we've got 3 different things that will actually go inside of either the teacup or the can. So we're going to ink that up good in that Memento Black. Now remember, if you're using Stampin' Blends, you want to use the Momentum Black because those work good with that. It's a your markers, your alcohol markers are not going to, what do I want to say, smear. They're not going to smear that black. So we've gone ahead and we've stamped it on there. So next we want to color with our Stampin' Blends. So just a quick review on blends, if you've never used them, they are alcohol markers. And when you purchase them, they come in a set of 2. So here I have our light smoky slate and our dark smoky slate. They all have 2 tips on them. They come out a little bit hard, but you've got the brush tip and then you've got the bullet tip. And you can tell which one's which when the caps are on because you got the thin line for the bullet and the thick line for the brush tip. Now let's see, you know what, my caps are mixed up. Look at what I did. Can you see dark and light? So let's switch these or we're gonna be really confused as we start coloring here. So this is our dark. Whenever I color, now there really is no right or wrong. So when you start playing with these, you're going to learn what works best for you. I like to start always with the light. And this is a pretty big area, so we can color in the bulk of it with that brush tip. And then the bullet tip is the one that I really like for getting along the edges there. And so we'll color that in. I'm going to fill in this whole area. Now, the thing with doing this on Designer Series paper instead of the basic white that you normally color on with Stampin' Blends is the color doesn't blend quite as well. It doesn't, I guess, smear around a little bit, but it works awesome. So you can see I added dark, and then I'm going to come back with my light, and I'm going to go over that dark, just trying to blend it. We want to make sure we don't have like drastic lines, which is really the whole purpose behind blends instead of your water-based marker. It's kind of fun on this Designer Series paper as well because you've got that texture. So I feel like you don't have to color like super solid and perfect because that kind of breaks it up a little bit. Now, when you put your caps back on, you always want to push them down on your table and hear the snap. Do you hear it? That ensures that these are on there good. So we've colored that with a smoky slate. Then let's go ahead and we're going to use Melon Mambo. So again, light and dark, and I'm going to do the one big flower here. So I'm going to fill in the whole flower with the light color. Okay, and you can see how I'm just kind of doing it, you know, kind of in circles as I'm coloring. And it's kind of fun when you color with them. You can hear it. I don't know if that's the video's picking it up, but you can hear it going through like that. Then we're going to go ahead and take the dark. Now this is where I am not a professional colorer. And there are many people that just do amazing coloring. You know, they're more true artists. I am not. So my little tip is I just go usually on the left side of each part of an image. I put some dark. I come back with my light. And you can see I'm just kind of smearing around the edges and calling it good. Is that proper shading? Probably not, but I think it works awesome. Now we're going to color just one more here. We're going to go ahead and use, oh, one's coming off hard. What do we got? Light Calypso Coral. So we'll do the same thing with this big flower here. What's fun about images like this is you could color them with any color. I am also not a gardener or a flower person, so I never know if what I'm coloring is color correct, if you know, for the types of flowers. I have no idea what kind of flowers these are, so we just play with different fun colors. So added that dark in there, and then we'll come back and we'll put a little light, and it just gives you a lot of depth to what you're coloring. And again, if you're more artsy and you understand shading and all that stuff, it's amazing what you can do with these markers. Okay, so there's that one. Let's go ahead and put this on there. Now we're going to do a little bit of magic of TV here. And I did color a whole one here. So with the Calypso Coral, I also use some Old Olive and what do we use here? Fresh Freesia for that. And then some, what do we got? Lemon Lolly for our yellow. So that image is all colored for us. Now the other thing with Stampin' Blends to be aware of, they do bleed through. So can you see how that's bled through on there? So you always want to be really careful that you're not coloring directly like on a front of a card or the inside of the card where you're going to see the back side of it. So you always want to make sure you layer. So we have a piece of basic black here. And I love to layer with basic black. And you see me do that a lot because it goes with everything. And I really feel like it makes that image and any color just pop. So there's our focal point of our card. Now let me move this stuff aside. Now we've been really, what do I say, not conventional with this card because we stamped on designer series paper. Now we're going to make it a square card. Again, something I don't do very often because one, you usually have to get special envelopes and it usually costs more postage. So I've got a fun trick for you. So we're going to start with our normal 8.5 by 11 and typically we would cut it at 5.5 to make a card. What we're going to do this time is we're going to cut it at 4 1/4. So now we're 4 1/4 by 8.5. We can flip it this way and we'll score it at 4 1/4, which is our normal. And then let's move our cutter. When we fold this in half, it is a square card. That's 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So essentially, this is our normal size. It's just shorter. Now, the reason I like doing this for a square card is because you can still mail this in a regular envelope. Your regular medium size that hold a card that is 5.5 by 4 1/4, this will fit in that envelope and then it doesn't cost you any extra postage. So it's a fun way to make square cards without paying extra or having to find square envelopes. So we're gonna just stick that on like so. And then for our greeting, I'm going to use just a scrap of Lemon Lolly that I have here. And we're going to stamp one of the greetings in that set says best friend ever. And I am going to stamp it right down there at the bottom edge. So this is how I almost always stamp my greeting layers. Rather than trying to figure out the size to cut it, I stamp on the edge and then we're going to put it in our trimmer here and we're going to just trim it off. So we can go that way. And that's why I go along that one edge, because then we just cut the one side, then trim the edges, and there is our piece. And so let's go ahead and grab the mini dimensionals. I think these will fit. Mini dimensionals, I have a hard time picking them up. So I like to use my take your pick tool in the pointy end there. And we're gonna just put, whoops, we'll put 3 of these on here. So let's put them at the end and then one in the middle, and then use that thing, the pokey end, just to poke it, and you can easily pick off those dimensional backings. That works really good on the regular size dimensionals as well. And then I think we have room right across there. And let's get that kind of straight. And just like that is our quick and easy little square card. So you could just write a little note in it or whatever and put it in a regular envelope. Okay, are you ready to see all the other samples I made? Let's clear this out. I want to start with this one because I wanted to play with all the different images, and you'll see how I did 4 cards, same measurement on everything, stamped on that designer series paper and colored them with Stampin' Blends. Now don't worry about the measurements. There is a blog post that goes with this video. All my videos have a blog post. Just look for it in the video description. And over there, I'll have pictures of all of these cards for you and all the measurements, plus a list of all the colors and supplies I used. So if you'd like to make these, I've got all the information there for you. So this is our main project for today. Since I started playing with the stamp set, I just could not stop. So what I ended up doing is making, let's see, we got 2, 4, 6, 7 other cards that I want to share with you. These are all full-size cards. And because there's no way I could make all of these in a video, what I did was I put all of these together into a really easy to follow tutorial. So you can get all the measurements, all the colors, all the list of supplies for the tutorial to make all 7 of these cards. And then even though this information is on the blog, I included this on the tutorial for you as well. All of these cards are easy. They don't take a ton of supplies, but with the tutorial, I'll give you all the measurements and everything, and you could easily make all of these. So the information about the tutorial is on that blog post as well. So follow the link in the video description and get all the details on these, plus how to get this tutorial. So I hope you like this project. I hope you like the tips that I shared with Stampin' Blends. If you don't have them, they are my absolute favorite way to color. So check out that blog post for all the details, and we'll be stamping again real soon. Have a stamp happy day.